I've never really talked about this, but during my freshman year of college, I studied abroad in London and I had a credit card for the first time, and I actually went into thousands of dollars, I think.
Hi guys, I'm Mo from Revolux Talk. Today we'll be looking at some TikToks of how some people are going some serious credit card debt, some very high balances, and the stories behind it. I'll give you some of my reactions, and hopefully, we'll pick up some tips along the way. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe, and also hit the bell for notifications. Let's get into it.
Exactly $4,000 in credit card debt simply because I didn't know how to use it. Like, Lisa, what do you mean you didn't know how to use it? All you do is you pay off the card, right? Giving me a credit card with a sky-high credit limit was insane because I had a shopping addiction. It was my first time living alone, away from home. I was in a different country, so I didn't understand the exchange rate sometimes. And on top of that, the word minimum payment was like 18, So for the most part, I did pay off the card. Like, I was so scared of going into debt that I would pay it off that day. I would buy something off of it. At the end of the day, I would make a payment. But then it got to a point where I was using it all the time. So then I started making minimum payments at the end of the month because I thought that's what it meant. And it was my first semester of college. I was busy trying to make friends. I was going to class. I was in another country trying to explore things. So I never really thought to ask anyone about it. And I never clearly looked at my finances. Back then, I wasn't that financially savvy. I was making adult money for the first time doing YouTube. And it was just like not top of mind. I was literally a kid. And on top of that, being 18, I was just like, oh, I'm getting started with my credit building early. My mom told me about this. I got this. It's totally fine. But I didn't do a lot of research on my own. And it had foreign transaction fees, and I studied abroad in London. So every time I spent money on my credit card to be safer with my money, because I didn't want to use my debit card, like my bank card everywhere, and get scammed. I don't know. I was like really paranoid. I had a transaction fee on every single transaction. The transaction fees on top of interest, because I paid the minimum payment, resulted me in being in thousands of dollars of credit card debt when I could have totally avoided it because I had the money to pay. I literally just didn't know what the words meant or looked at the app.
I've held so much shame around the fact that I have that credit card debt. What started out as putting a holiday on the credit card, nothing crazy, has then turned into we have a house renovation and there's things that we have to pay for to get the house done to be able to sell it and recoup our money. So we've put that on the credit card. Realistically, we haven't been using it to fund some crazy lifestyle that we can't keep up with. Nonetheless, it's still there. It's still something that we have to pay off. And with the current cost of living and all of our bills increasing literally every single month, it honestly sometimes feels like we're on a sinking ship and there's no way out. I've actually wanted to come on here for a really long time and talk about it, but at the same time, by not talking about it, it feels like I can kind of ignore it and pretend that it's not there. I know that so many other people are probably in the same situation as me. With social media usually only being a highlight reel with all the best things shown, I feel like this is something that's really, really important to talk about.
Confession time, how I actually got myself in credit card debt. So I did share in a previous video that the reason I've been doing this no spend challenge is because I've managed to build up £1,900 in credit card debt that I really, really want to pay off. And I know that's not a lot of debt compared to some people on this app, but for me, it's still something that I feel like needs removing from my life and somewhere that I can improve. And it was really, really bothering me, so I decided to take action. So the reason I got myself into that debt in the first place is just lifing away, really. Some of it is because I got access to a credit card and had a really big credit limit on it and felt like I could just spend away. At the time, it felt better to put it on my credit card and pay it off later than have the money leave my bank account in that moment because I had other more pressing financial commitments like bills or rent. But what I didn't take into account is if you do this with multiple things, you're not paying them off quicker than you're building up the debt. And with interest payments, it actually makes it quite expensive and it does start to snowball.
I think it's quite true that a lot of people do not like seeing money actually leave their actual bank account. They would rather spend money on the credit card and deal with that later on, like this lady has done here.
And with interest payments, it actually makes it quite expensive and it does start to snowball. So painfully, £400 of that debt is just interest payments. And that's why it's time for it to go, because it just feels like a waste of money and that money could be going on something much more fun. Really what I spent the money on was a lot of things that I could probably live without. Some of them were essential, like my dog broke my laptop and I had to buy a new computer, but some of them were unessential, for example, holidays, nights out, trips away, that I just thought it was easier to whack on my credit card and deal with later than actually pay for in the moment. So it's just super important for me to make sure I've got that debt paid off so that I can start moving forward and making better financial choices and have better financial stability in 2024. And you know what? Every time I make a payment, it feels so good because it feels like a weight is being lifted and I'm slowly getting back to my true self and living life on my terms.
It's definitely easy to get carried away with those credit card payments, so just try and be mindful what you spend your money on.
So I'm going to tell you a story about the typical 20-year-old, and I'm not digging at you 20s, all right, because there's some bloody good kids out there and you're all surviving and you're doing really well. But in the world of borrowing and finance, when I was working in a bank, I saw this all too often. You would get offered a credit card, so you think, oh, okay, get that, build up my credit history, and you then spend on it and you pay the monthly payment and your credit history gets good, so you get offered more credit. And so you spend more and this debt starts to build up because you think you're going to pay it off monthly, but then you're now behind. Okay, so the money that you earn is for you to live on, and if you then build up a deficit, you are now working in a minus. So don't work in a minus, don't use your overdraft if you can help it. So these people, overdrafts, credit cards, go back to the bank and go, I'm really struggling, I can't meet my payments. What would you suggest? Or the vultures, let's call them. I don't want to say that because some of my friends are bankers, but they get taught this, right? To jump on people with credit and offer them personal loans. So you go and see the personal banker and the banker says, we're going to pull all this together. We're going to consolidate it. We're going to reduce your monthly outgoing. You're going to have a disciplined, controlled monthly payment that you know is going to be paid off by a certain period of time, let's say 7 years. And that monthly payment's great. And so you're comfortable with that. And you say, brilliant, I've just saved myself loads of money now. My surplus income has gone up. But then something comes along and you've still got those credit cards. So what do? You use the credit card. And now those credit cards are building up and you've got your personal loan and now you're building a bigger deficit. So my advice to you is don't get a credit card if it's offered to you. Don't take a personal loan if it's offered to you. Only if it is dire necessity. If you want to buy a car, you get yourself a personal loan or you get yourself car finance, you pay that off. People may have a difference of opinion on that, but you need to get yourself out of debt and keep...
No, that's definitely quite true, actually. You'll normally get a much cheaper rate getting a personal loan from a bank rather than taking out the finance that the dealership offers you. They'll normally charge you a much higher interest rate.
Keep your money in your pocket. There's going to be sharks out there hunting you down, wanting your money, but your power is when your money is in your pocket. Keep it to yourself. Don't be giving it to anyone. Don't be giving it to anyone that asks you they want to borrow money, because you'll be doing them a favor by saying no. And this is a common thing. If they don't borrow from their parents and they don't borrow from the bank, or they borrow from their sister or their friend or whatever, just don't feel bad about it. Say no, because you're going to be helping them in the long run, because they're building a negative. And how the hell are they going to get out of that negative? If they've got a decent income, or a job that that they've got commission or something, they can work that little bit harder, or they're self-employed, they've got the money to pay it back. But my advice is just don't borrow it in the first place unless it is a dire necessity. What the hell is it with this Klarna nonsense? You're buying material items and paying them up over 3 payments, thinking, oh, this is interest free, oh, it's great, I'm going to do this, I really want those shoes, I really want that bag, I really want that dress. No, you don't need it. And if you don't need it, don't buy it. Keep your money in your pocket. Go to the marketplace on Facebook or go to a charity shop, but do not part with your money.
I'll talk about something that not many people talk about, which is how we actually got into £20,000 worth of debt when we both combined earn more than £100,000 a year. You'd probably hear that and be like, but then how have you got into debt then? The main reason is we spent a lot of our early 20s just living beyond our means. So we had £1,000 to spend, we'd spend that £1,000 and then we'd spend on our credit card and then be like, we'll spend an extra £200 on our credit card and we'll pay that off back next month. The next month would come and we then wouldn't pay that £200 back, so then we'd spend the £1,000 again, and then we'd be like, oh crap, we've got no money left, we'll have to spend on the credit card again. And then you kind of just get like stuck in that cycle of never really repaying the previous months that you've had.
It's quite easy for costs just to spiral out of control. If you're not paying off the previous month's balance, then it's obviously going to move forward. It's a really difficult thing to get out of once you're in it.
holidays, and we'd have holidays to pay for. Married, and if everyone knows, like, we got married, we got £20,000 worth of loans out, we paid £10,000 off ourselves. Again, really, if we had £10,000, we should have put our wedding budget at £10,000 and not £30,000. Plan was, after we got married that next year, we were going to pay that wedding off, but then we ended up going to Thailand traveling, so it never got paid off until now. Got about £5,000 worth to pay off, which we're so close that we're going to pay the majority of that this month, and then next month. No longer living beyond our means. We have set budget, we have saving pots. So
This is actually quite smart. Putting money aside in a savings account and then only using those funds for those purchases is probably the best way to keep out of debt.
if we do overspend, it comes out the saving pots and our savings go down.
I'm paying off £22,500 worth of credit card debt. Let me show you some of the things I've bought on my credit card. Fridge freezer, £350. Washing machine dishwasher, £750 total. Jeans, £35. This dress, £35 I think. This holiday, £2,000. These pictures, about £150 in total I think. What else? And now I've been walking around my house like a mug for ages, trying to find more material things. But really, it wasn't material things. It was memories and experiences and food and grocery shops and petrol for the car and things I don't even remember, and so many little things that just added up into one huge ball of thousands and thousands of pounds of debt. Because that's the scary thing about credit card debt. You can put a holiday on or the odd meal out, and then what's to stop you from doing it again and again and again, and things add up and up and up, and suddenly you've got loads, and suddenly your life circumstances change and you think, how am I ever going to pay this off? And that's exactly what the sort of situation I was in. And so many.
If you're like this lady who does spend quite a lot of money on various things, my advice would be to try and every so often look at your transactions. That should hopefully change your habits about how much you're spending.
People are in. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed that tour.
I really wish more people talked about the fact that so many more people than you think are in credit card debt. You're starting to look at people around you and wondering how the hell they're purchasing luxury cars, going on these lavish vacations, buying luxury items like sunglasses, designer purses, things like that. It's credit cards. They're in credit card debt. Especially the kids that you went to school with and they always had the newest iPhone, the newest clothing, even drove like a luxury car. Their parents are in credit card debt. I just feel like it's not talked about enough and no one is real about it. I consider myself to be a very independent woman. I have a good job. I make a decent living. I've always wondered how the people around me are doing these crazy, lavish, luxury, expensive things and wondering why I can't afford it as someone who also works very hard. It's credit card debt.
Just thought I'd put that one in there. It's quite funny, really. It's good that she's got a sense of humour about her debt.
I have applied for and been approved for a new credit card, even though I'm paying off £15,000 of debt, which is something I didn't think I'd say this year.
So the average debt in the UK, guys, is £2,500 per household. So this really does put things into perspective for this lady. She's about 6 times over that amount.
I'd say this year. So yesterday I posted about my Virgin credit card gaining interest for the first month, and the interest was like £22, and I didn't really know what to do. I had an M&S card which I could bank transfer to, but I didn't know whether to do that because the fees were like £43, and lots of you commented and were really helpful and said look for a 0% fees or 0 fees card so I can balance transfer to. I didn't really know that they existed, and the interest-free period is a much shorter period, but it was like 12 months instead of like 24, but I'm planning to pay it off in 12 months anyway, so I've applied for one and I've been approved. It feels like a bittersweet thing. Like, I'm glad that I won't have to pay interest and it'll be transferred over. Hopefully it'll all be sorted in the next couple of days, but I really didn't want another credit card, and even though I only wanted to bank transfer like 11.
It's crazy how some banks will give you a credit card with a huge credit limit knowing that you're already in quite a lot of debt. But at least this lady is quite sensible. She's trying to do a balance transfer with a 0% interest rate. So it's quite a smart move, really.
So I guess my utilisation will go like right down because I'll have more credit, which is good for my credit rating, but I've applied for more credit, which is bad for my credit rating. So it's just a bit of a faff, but I've done it. I won't be paying interest next month, fingers crossed, if everything's sorted. And at least I've got like 12 months, even though I want to pay it off in the next few months anyway, interest free, and I can also tackle my other one interest free.
Some nice, interesting stories there for you. Hope you took something away from all of those, and hope you enjoyed them as well. If you did enjoy the video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel, and I'll hopefully see you on the next one.